Right. Hey guys, it's Level Up here, session 14 with amazing Mike Azevedo. So we are here with Darek.
Hey.
You there? Yeah.
Yes.
Jonas,
Hello.
Mike,
Hey, what's up?
and me, Wojtek. So today we are going to do some really cool overpaintings, as well as Mike will demo his process for us. And later on we'll try to do more overpaints. So actually we came up with this really cool idea of letting you choose the topic for a demo for Mike. So on the right you can see the section to post comments to the video. So just type in any theme you want Mike to paint, and he will do a demo over that theme. He will go through the specifics and maybe some technical stuff, but still we need a theme from you. So yeah, I can see themes are going through right now, and that's really cool. All right, so let me introduce Mike to you. Mike is an amazing illustrator that I know of like for a really long time, and I've been following his work for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. I've seen his amazing stuff when I was starting out, and it really inspired me to do more. So if you want to check out his work, just go to his Facebook, type in and follow him. He's working for Applebot, as you can see, and he's pulling off pretty amazing illustrations, and also his speed paints are just mind-blowing. So yeah, you want to follow Mike, really. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, man, really. It means a lot. I had no idea, actually, that you seen my stuff from the beginning. It's like amazing.
Oh, man. Yeah, exactly. I've seen your stuff on forum conceptart.org first, and then I've seen your Bloodsport submission, like studies and submissions, and then I saw your Facebook and I just instantly followed it. So basically, everyone who watches us right now, just go to Facebook, follow Mike, and you will be amazed of the amount of crazy stuff he can show us. All right, so let's jump into the themes. I can see them going right now. Sorry for the inception. All right, so here's the first painting from Mike. It's just, is it a self-portrait?
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
Quick one.
All right, so Mike, just go through the comments and see if anything is interesting to you.
Okay, so first off, I'd like to thank you guys for having me here. It's totally amazing to be on. Really, I enjoyed all of the level up sessions that I watched, and this is just amazing, man. Seriously, you guys are doing such great work, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I'm going through the chat.
Yeah, man, we are really happy that you had some time that you could devote to us, to the community, because that's what we are doing in here. We're trying to, you know, just do something for free for people to enjoy, to have, you know, like a cool thing on Sunday evening or whatever the time is at your place to watch.
Some Vikings. That's good. Good thing.
All right. So let me before you choose the theme, I just want for people to know that there is some issues with questions and answers right now. It's not working as it should be working. So basically, just type in questions into the chat, and we will pick it from there. Yeah, so that's the thing.
Cool.
So again, your theme, you have chosen it?
There's a lot of themes, awesome themes. Most of Cyborg Rabbit, that's cool. I think I'm going with Viking.
All right, cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Before you start, one more thing, Jonas, will you be doing like an overpaints off screen?
Yes, I will do an overpaint off screen right now as people are watching Mike's demo.
Okay, that's cool. So
Yeah,
Darek will also do it, right?
Yes, okay. I just started preparing for it.
That's amazing. So we have Darek and Jonas doing overpaints from the work submitted to the group off screen, while Mike is doing a demo on the theme Viking. And later on, when Jonas and Darek will be finished with their overpaints, we'll switch to their screens and see what happens. So Mike, just go ahead. If you have anything to talk about, just...
Yeah, I have one important thing to talk about. My Photoshop just crashed. And
it's normal on stream.
That's what we are used to, you know.
Off to a great start.
No problem with that.
Yeah,
it's always happened.
I have a folder like full of reference that I got online. Sometimes I just look at this before I start something. Yeah, you know, you got like things from all over the world. It's just like, you know, Saskia Kunnekunst or here and
nice.
Or just, you know, just some character design from Frozen or just random stuff. I really enjoy looking at it before I start to get some ideas or maybe some lighting situations or things like that, you know, from other artists that have done this before me. So I really enjoy doing that before I start.
Yeah,
so
it's like building your own visual library.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like
which is exactly what you talked about on the magazine, on the tutorial magazine, to the artists that you did. I read it all, and it's exactly the same way for me. I usually go to some movies or just inspiration before I start.
Exactly. Like I find movies really inspirational. The way people, like cinematographers, can light the scene. It's really beneficial for an illustrators to see different lighting scenarios that are happening in the movies. So I like to research my designs in Google, for example, or I don't know, Tumblrs, or but still for light, I always go to movies because it's just, you know, the perfect place. There's so much money in that industry that it's hard for them to make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. So after I had like some ideas of what I'm going to do, just basic thoughts, just like lighting or just basic design, I start building up shapes with structure. I don't use line. Some people ask me that a lot, actually, because on my live stream, they always see me starting with just blobs of colors, and you know, some people might not understand it. The beginners mostly, because what I'm doing is basically just painting the shapes and the planes of things. Like the marks I make are actually representing planes of things. So I'm trying to just establish this structure as just as if I'm doing a line drawing, but not actually using line, because I think it saves me some time, and it's gonna save me more time when I'm actually good with structure, because I'm still studying a lot, and what I see like artists like Craig Mullins influenced me a lot to do stuff like that, and you know, Jamie Jones, just the awesome artists around. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys know Jamie Jones, but
no, you know, I have no idea who he is. Right. Yeah, so Mike, I can see you are also more painterly type of a person, not like a line art guy, right? Because that's the way I am, even though I did that through the artist tutorial when I just did a really tight like line drawing. It's just for you to know that I don't usually start illustration like that. I don't have that patience, you know, to just do a whole line paint. So for example, I'm doing an Applebot card right now, and I'm not doing any, actually I'm doing it on one layer, so I don't know if I can pull it off. I don't know how you did yours, but it also looked like you did it on one layer, like really, yeah, so that's tough. And you know, go ahead.
Yeah, most of the times I don't do like one layer, but I keep it just like 2 or 3, or not a lot of layers. Sometimes I'd like to separate the light sources on layers, because I can like change the colors and adjust things. But I don't usually use like many modes, layer modes, or just clipping masks or anything like that. I just go with painting all from scratch, basically, like you said right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I prefer doing it, because I don't know, I'm used to doing it like that. I'm not, maybe if I knew more like Photoshop tools, I'll just use it more, but I don't know many. I'm more of a just trying to paint the way I would with just oils or anything like that.
So can you explain your process a bit right now? What are you thinking when you are sketching? Like, you are only referencing from your mind right now. You're painting from imagination. So you're relying fully on your mind right now.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm doing is just trying to find the pose of the character. My rough idea is that it's gonna be a fatty Viking just posing and with a huge axe, and I'm going from there, trying to find a good pose, find a good balance line, and also a good composition already, because everything in an image for me is about composition, and is like the most important thing for me. When I look at an image and it has good composition, then I start looking at more stuff. If it doesn't have, the composition doesn't appeal to me, I don't really enjoy. Maybe if the colors are good, but most of the times I just try to go for composition. So what I'm doing is just finding the big shapes, like Sargent said once. You're not allowed to work on the smaller shapes until the bigger shapes are worked on.
Yeah, exactly.
So exactly. I try to follow that always. Sometimes I get caught up on detail, but that's just like my fail work. So most of the times when I'm trying to do.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
What I'm trying to do is work on big shapes and big forms right now. It's a lot about visual library and how live drawing can help a lot to create a good pose. Just studying anatomy, posing, just values overall could help.
What I really love about your work is how painterly you can go. Even in your commercial work, you are able to live, brush strokes so rough, so vivid, and it's really, it's the juice for other painters to watch your work, I think, because you're such an amazing colorist. You have such a good taste for colors that when the brush strokes comes through, it's just mind blowing. So that's why I love your work, really. And
especially in speed painters, you are a monster, man.
Thanks, man. I guess.
Such a beast.
Yeah, and all the personality you can, the personality that speaks through your work, like emotions and all the characters you are painting. Once I've seen your painting in Imagine Effects, the centaur guy with small teeth. Do you remember that
Imagine
painting?
Effects? Are you sure?
No, maybe not Imagine Effects. I don't know.
Because I didn't know about it.
You've been featured, but it wasn't directly your feature, but Crimson Daggers, I think.
Yeah.
So it was a full page, probably. You got a full page from that painting, yeah. And that's I think the first painting I saw from you. It was really amazing, like the emotions on the centaur's face and the lightning and the stylization. It was all really amazing. If you don't know about Mike's work, go to his Tumblr or Facebook and just check it out. It's amazing.
Thanks a lot, man. I really try to go with things that I like. That's a big thing with my work. I don't really like doing or drawing, painting things that I don't like. I like monsters. I like movies with monsters. I like characters that are funny looking. So I don't try to go with super serious stuff, or I really try to go with what I enjoy doing, and that's a big part of, I think, what shows in my work.
Exactly.
I just draw what I like, I think.
It shows through, really, because your work is so authentic, genuine, and it just has that force. that is just, you know, striking. So that's what I see when I see you on my feed or somewhere.
Thanks a lot, man.
Right.
So something that I usually do in the beginning is try to not overwork the colors. I try to build them as I go. I don't really try to, you know, have a finished looking color right when I start. That comes from just, you know, observing live stills, or just putting things over on my desk by my side, and just trying to figure out how light hits them and how, you know, they react to light. And then I think color is a secondary thing to light. I think light is more important, at least in my work. I try to get light correctly, and if I get light correctly, it will look 3D. It will look like forms are reading, and then I will go for color, you know. Then I'll go just, you know, how can I balance the warms and cools on my image, or, you know, I go for the next step. I think that you know, sums up more of my work. I do it like that most of the times.
Yeah, that's pretty useful. Like you are slowly building up your your color scheme, right?
Yeah, exactly. I usually start very grayish, and, you know, just you can really see the final colors in the initial image. I go more for shapes and composition, and just, you know, I try to make the shapes work, and then I try to work on smaller stuff. That's basically a big rule to me when I'm going to start something. I don't, you know, just zoom in and start working on something and getting the right colors. I just try to get the overall feeling and mood before I start working on smaller stuff, like, you know, smaller color relations, or just, you know, positions of hands, or just, you know, smaller stuff.
So again, to all the people watching, please submit questions to the chat room. I will start looking through it right now and ask whoever you like. So basically, just type in questions. Yes, the video will be recorded. It will be on the channel. And again, this is the new channel for Level Up. So I have set up this channel like, I don't know, half an hour ago. So basically, we will upload all the videos there in 1 week, I think. And basically, all the live events will be posted on that channel. So if you want to be in touch with Level Up, just subscribe to that channel, and you will see us on the newsfeed. So again, going back to you, I see you're drawing in some rock shapes just to
Yeah, this is something I observed from Jamie's work. You know, just his
introducing like a small line drawing somewhere inside the shape.
Mixing. Yeah, exactly. Just like not being focused on just, you know, I'm doing line drawing or I'm doing just blobs. Just mix it all. You don't have to be, you know, restricted to doing one thing. You can like establish the structure whatever the way you want, or whatever's the best way to you to establish it. So I try to go with that, just establishing with line and just shapes and marks.
Because it's like the drawing is still painting, and the painting is still drawing, but with bigger shapes and color. So what I got, you know, what I realized when I was studying under Watts, it was, he told me that drawing is still like painting but with charcoal, and painting is still drawing but with the paintbrush. So what's the point in here is that you are still drawing when you are painting, and you are still painting when you are drawing. So it's like, okay, exactly. I can see the questions coming. Again, will Jonas show his magic tricks with the brush panel? Jonas, will you?
No, that's for next week. Actually, sorry.
You're a terrible person.
I will give an update, but it's still not finished, and I'm still actually thinking of new functions to add. And I want to release everything, but I'm going to release a new brush set again. I know I've done it recently and I did it last year, but you keep updating it. So I will release a new brush set with the panel, so it will be completely integrated and it will work as a whole thing. And then you can still customize it. I will give the project folder of configurator as well, so you can still customize it if you want to use your own brush set. Right now, it's only working for CS6 and Creative Cloud, though. So people who are using older versions, they will have to look into getting a different version of configurator. But yeah, I think you should still be able to recreate the same panel if you want to. But it'll be a lot more work, unfortunately.
So you'll maybe show us that later on after we'll do overpaints, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's amazing. You're a gold to a community, man.
Just trying to help, bro.
That's what we do in here, right?
Doesn't work when I say bro.
Okay, I have some questions.
Yeah.
That's to all of us, but Mike, you can answer it first. What are your main ambitions as an artist? What do you aspire?
Like always get better, mostly. Just I don't like looking at my past work and not realizing I got better. I just have this thing when I have to do better work always and enjoy more the work I'm doing. Just basically it. I don't have just a big goal for my life or anything like that. Just I know that I'm gonna enjoy this for the rest of my life painting. It's something I do even if I didn't get paid to do it. I would do it.
That's so important.
And so I just want to get better. That's it. Always.
That's nice. Yeah, I find it really useful to not have a fixed goal. Because when you really have a fixed goal, it's like it maybe feels a little bit empty when you will reach it. I mean, there is a satisfaction, but if you don't find another one before you reach it, it's like you have no goal after you, because sometimes you can really fast reach your goal, and what's next, right? So the journey is a goal, actually. Be honest, what do you aspire?
Oh, I think it's off right now. So maybe I'll compare.
Yeah, man, Darek.
To what Mike said, it's about just making and having all the time fun with what you are doing, with your art, and you should just always find it pretty enjoyable. And if you establish your goals, you still have to pursue them, but it doesn't it cannot makes you stiff and just focusing mostly on it. I don't know how to call it. You are just getting nervous and pretty closed for that one thing. So it's just about exchanging the goals, maybe. So as Wojtek said, finding another ones and trying to reach one, and not in the exact time. So it will come naturally, I think. Yeah. So that's my point.
Jonas
he's not like he's painting. I can see his face.
Yeah, I'm trying to waving my hands to him and he doesn't react.
He's muted, I think.
Yeah, he's working hard on overpaints. That's what counts.
Okay.
If he's working, it's okay.
on leave.
Okay. Again, let me pick a question. Beginner question. As a beginner, what is the best, fastest way to learn the light and shading? I can set the origin of light, but can't imagine the effect on character. Mike, I think you can answer that.
Okay. You said for a beginning, right? For a beginner.
It's the person posted beginner question. As a beginner, what is the best and fastest way to learn the light and shading?
I think just mixing sketches with studies. So when I'm doing studies, I try to go for still lifes, just putting stuff on my desk or just studying photos that have just good light, that I judge to have good light, and you know, just trying to do that, and after that you just try to
Make light into the picture.
yeah, make light with just your head. Try to replicate what you learned, and always do that. Don't just study photos or just copy them, because you're just not gonna learn like that. You're just gonna be good at copying photos. So
Yes.
the most important thing about when you're copying stuff is do something after with what you learned. My studies are basically annotations of my mind with painting. You know, I'm not just copying things. I'm just, okay, this looks like that, and then okay, it's like that, and then just annotations, like a math class or just anything like that. You know.
Yeah, so it's about also analyzing, not only just copying the thing.
Exactly.
So what really helped me in my way to understanding and learning the light is always observing the, you know, just everything is happening around you. So you are just driving in the car or something, and or in the bus, and you looking on the people, looking how the light react on them, how everything is the goes with colors in different times.
Exactly. I even found myself painting in my mind sometimes when I was traveling with the bus
Exactly.
to some place like to work 1 year ago. That was my favorite thing. I was sitting in there and looking out the, you know, like a wet window with all the water on it from rain and stuff. And I was imagining, okay, how should I approach it? Let's imagine it's a Photoshop, right? So let's paint that. Okay, so let's put a layer, let's put it on somewhere, and this was crazy. And
Yeah,
I was just painting in my mind. It was just fucked up, but actually it helps.
And Wojtek, what helped me also in my earlier years was something that you see and try to make it when you are back to home and draw the same thing you just saw.
Yeah, like Jonas did with his underwater painting.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he kind of did that exactly perfect. So it's just an amazing painting, man. Just totally, it's exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
We can connect pretty easily. We are illustrators. We think over the same things. What?
Sorry. I just wanted to tell something to Jonas, and he already.
Yeah, there's some noise coming out from him. All right. No worries. Let me pick another question.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty cool. To Mike, do you have a lighting situation in mind and color palette, or do you loosely feel your way? I find it difficult to allow my creative approach to painting as I'm always tied up in coloring issues.
The thing most people get wrong, I judge, like I think the people get wrong is when they think about color, they think about color separately. Like they think about one color. You know, there's no such thing as one color. Colors are just relations. So when I think about colors, I think about relations of two colors, you know, just at least two colors. And you know how warm they are, how cool they are compared to each other. So you cannot think about colors only thinking about just one color or just one color scheme. You have to really just be open with all your image and start slowly building it up as you go. So with the lighting scheme, most of the times I have inspiration from movies, and they do it like masterfully, like Wojtek said, and it's just much easier when you have like a guide. You know, okay, I want to light stuff like Lord of the Rings, for instance, and then you do that, and so it's easier when you think about just steps, or just you have figure out on your mind what you're gonna do, and it doesn't have to be from scratch. You know, you can like be influenced by other paintings, other like movies, artists, you know, anything. And when you have like that, it's much easier, man.
Exactly. So what would be your process, for example, if you would like to learn how to light an object from imagination? You would probably do like a couple of studies from movies you like, and stuff, right? And then you would just try to apply it to your imaginary kind of paintings and stuff, see what's left from the studies, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's just exactly what I would do. Sometimes I just use the exact. I try to replicate the exact same feeling I had on some movie, like on a painting, but not directly copying the movie, because that's not cool, you know. Just watching the movie one time and then go to painting as I remember it, you know. And it's gonna look different, and it has to, because you're not just a photographic memory. Even if you're not just copying exactly all the colors, because there's just too much, just too many colors on an image. So I do that a lot, and I try to replicate it after I watch the movie, or I play the game, or just any visual stuff, or seen a painting, and
so
that helps a lot.
So you are building up your library visualization and trying to imply it into your works.
Exactly.
That's great. That's some. Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Jonas,
Sometimes I just like to sketch loosely, with not thinking about a movie, trying to just come out with something, with a lighting scheme and a situation. But that mostly is just fails. But it's just learning. It's good. It's not about having a good painting every time. It's about making better paintings. So not every painting has to be the best painting, but if you're doing better paintings sometimes, then you're getting better.
Yes, the mistakes are a natural way of improving.
Yeah, exactly. Like right now on this image, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm adding a new light on a new layer, so I'm using the brush strokes in a different way depending on the material. So for instance, on the cape, I'm doing it like that. It's a brush from Jama Jurabaev. I cannot say his name probably, but I'm using the brush strokes like that, and then the horn, I'm using it like that. You know, just even you can have the same brush with a different effect if you use it differently, and that's what traditional painters do, and digital painters don't really think about many times. They think just I have a brush, I have to use it like that always. Doesn't matter what I'm doing or what I'm painting, and it's not like that. You can just do whatever you want, whatever feels better, you know.
Exactly. There's so many ways of doing one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just on medium. That basically whatever works for you. If you have chosen to replicate how the traditional painters work, that will only show in your work. So basically, you have to just pick and choose the workflow you like basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with brushes. As a lot of people think that if they are using the same brushes as someone who they really admire, they will automatically start painting like them. But it's not really true, because everything should be just set to your expectations, and you should just build everything up to you, so it will be more natural way of working, and building workflow is pretty like private thing. So I think that's what I think about it.
Yeah, totally, man.
Let's find another question. Looking through again. There are pretty similar questions that I don't want to answer simply because they're answered in the previous sessions, and they're just, oh god, what's that? Jonas, your computer is burning.
I know, man.
It's just starting. It's just starting again.
Yeah, lift off. Okay, it's better. It's okay right now. Oh, so people are asking about that plugin you have open in Photoshop, Mike, with the color wheel.
This
What's that?
is the middle. It's called Colorus. It's a plugin that changes this thing just for this. It's just a plugin for Photoshop. You go to like colors.com, I think, and you can buy it. They gave me to test for free, and it was really awesome. I really enjoyed it, and I stick with it because it changes my perception with color to like you see can you see the color picker here?
Yes, yes, we can see it.
Most of my life painting, I didn't really realize that this stripe here is actually a color wheel. I just didn't really think about that. I just use it as I can select colors. Okay, changing colors, and exactly what it is that if you get this stripe and you kind of blend it, you have a color wheel. So it just changes this to this, and it's, I think, a much better way to think about colors, because you can see like the opposite colors much better than here, right? Because there's no opposite colors. And with here you can like see, okay, I have an orange, okay, like an orange, the exact opposite color of this is like this. It's much easier to see the opposite colors mainly.
Exactly.
Yeah, complementary colors actually.
Have you heard about that pop-up HUD?
No, never.
So what version of Photoshop do you have? CS6?
CS6, yeah.
Yeah, so can you just hit Shift, Alt, and right-click on your painting?
What?
Shift, Alt, and right-click.
Alt and right-click. What?
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Oh, well. All right, so keep painting. I will try to do.
They are stuff, man.
No, I just wanted people to show the cool thing that is that's default in Photoshop, but not a lot of people knows about it. So I just wanted to.
So Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
So in that colorist that you're using, because to me it looks pretty. I've seen it before. It looks pretty similar to the Photoshop color picker. But is there a way for you to pick value separately from color in that system?
I don't think so, man.
Okay. Because I think that's a really nice way of working with the traditional Photoshop color panel that not many people know about. If you set it to HBS, you can pick value completely separate from color, and I think that's also a really powerful way of working when you're coloring, because you can shift your hue on any value as you work and your saturation without affecting your value. And I think that's the problem that exists with the original Photoshop color picker, is that the value curve and the saturation curve are not parallel.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, when you're changing your color, and because you're limited in your perception as a human to pick color, you're actually changing value, and you're actually getting into an inaccurate value range. So I was wondering if with that there's maybe a way to do that as well, like how you can set it.
Actually, the creators of colors are really open for suggestions, and they are trying to create the best color picker for digital painters they possibly can. So I think they can introduce like a slider for values or something.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah. I think it has, but I haven't really messed with it too much. I think it does with colors, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will post the link to the site. Again, lift off, man.
Yep.
The jet is starting.
Should have an auto mute.
What the hell is that big thing, Mike?
It's gonna be a big wolf, man.
Oh, nice. I love exactly that boldness of your paintings. If you want to paint a big freaking wolf, you just paint a big freaking wolf.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Now that I have the pose on the front guy, it's much easier to add more stuff, because stuff has to follow the lines that this guy has. So it's much easier when I have this guy like a bit set up, with basic light and structure down, and then I can just add more stuff. It's much easier. It's a similar process to what I do in my live stream paintings. Most of the time I just start with one character and then I add up just a background and another character. And when I finish the stream, I have like a painting with just, you know, like that, like this one, with not what I planned for, which is cool, I think, because I don't really. What I like about painting the most is that I don't really know what's gonna come out all the time. You know, it's like a very mysterious thing. That I think that, you know, it changes depending on, you know, if I'm hurry or if I'm concerned with something. It just changes.
It's an exploring process for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
nice.
you're more the person who you'll start painting just for the heck of it without any idea in mind, and
Yeah,
just
sometimes
basically yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen James on Level Up showing off his abstraction techniques, where when he is just, you know, scribbling and then suddenly he sees something in there and he tries to pursue that kind of a imaginary flesh, and, you know, it's just trying to show what he sees with his imagination. Do you start from abstraction sometimes, like just painting without an idea, or you always have an idea for a painting?
Yeah, I don't really think I do that like without an idea. What I do is I add stuff that I was not planned to do. So like just this wolf is a perfect example. I didn't know I was going to add that, but at the beginning I knew I was drawing a Viking, and that's it. But I don't really just draw anything and see, oh, that's a wolf. Let's add a wolf. No, don't really do that. James does that, and he's awesome, but not really my thing to do.
Yeah, it's a matter of personality as well.
Yeah.
So whatever works. So, how are the overpaints going, guys?
Yeah, I think I can wrap this one up and show it. I mean, it's not polished, but
I think I need some water or something.
Water.
What? 15 minutes yet.
Oh, okay, all right.
We don't have water in Poland, man.
No.
No water. Overpaint, man. No water for you. I mean, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Go eat something.
So, we're looking at my overpaint then.
Alright, share the screen, I will switch it to you, and then we'll be back to Mike, alright?
Yes.
Right? Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay. So this is a piece by, I don't know how to pronounce that, Joe Marquez. Sorry if I suck at pronouncing your name. So I think it's quite nice, like a little fantasy cave with a waterfall, but I think the main problem here is that it looks too cartoony, the brushwork. And, you know, since this person posted it in Level Up, I assume that that's not the intention. So in my overpaint, I've actually mostly tried to create like a different painterly feel and a little bit of different lighting. So this is, hold on, I'll just
shit, looks great, man.
Thanks. So I've taken out some of the color, but I've added a lot more depth, so I think you can see much more sort of what's going on. Definitely in the navigator, once again. If you look in the navigator with him, the value of the background is pretty similar to the overhanging plants, so it doesn't read very well at a small size. Someone's whispering in my ear. Okay. And in this one, by introducing some copyright Zabrocki sunbeams.
Stop kidding, man. I don't use them in my life.
I know, man. I know. Anyway, and also by trying to use a little bit of variety in the color of the water. So I think this person here is using. He's very literally. He's thinking, okay, I'm painting water, so I have to use green colors. You don't actually, because water's transparent, and water can pretty much have any color depending on the environment, the soil beneath it, and so on. So I've used a little bit of brownie here, a little bit of green, and also a bit of blue in the shaded parts. And I think from far that actually reads a lot more interesting, like there's more color variety. Same with the rock colors. So if I bring up the color panel, you can see that I've got greens, browns, some blues. So basically, yeah, just trying to introduce more color variety.
So
in,
more enriches the palette.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, obviously, you have to try it in the right place. Like, you know, I still made some mistakes here. Like, but yeah, okay. So I hope that was helpful for the person. So back to you, Wojtek.
Sure, back to Mike. And it was awesome. I hope you'll post it later on to the group.
Yes, of course.
For us to see in high res. And amazing. All right, Darek, let me know when you will be ready. Right now we can see Mike doing his sketch. It's not longer a sketch, I think. It's getting closer. Nice. I love the wolf idea.
Thanks, man. I just thought about something that you know, fits with Viking theme. And the person actually said like Vikings and monsters, I think was the idea. And then I added some like giant wolf dude.
Nice.
In the background.
Yeah, painting animals and stylized animals and stuff. I love seeing those from you. So that's really amazing. Yeah.
I actually studied that a lot, like looking at photographs of animals and just trying to understand how each animal is. Like, just this week was horses. I just drew like, you know, around like 30 or 50 horses on my sketchbook just to understand how they, just basic anatomy stuff and what I was saying exactly, like paint from photos and then after try to do from your imagination. And I do that still, and I probably always gonna do that because it's just the best way that I ever, you know, realized to learn something.
Yeah.
From your imagination. Just trying to do that from imagination always.
That's where your voice is, really. That's where yeah. Nice. Right. Looking for some questions. So again, if you have any questions, just post it into the chat room. I will try to go through them. Maybe try to separate the question, like just type in with capital question and then just type in your question so I can easily see what's a question and what's a comment to the video, so I can differentiate them easier. All right. Jonas, you've mentioned some great TV series. Maybe now you could share with us a couple of books stimulating an imagination. Maybe Mike could say something about his visual library. I think we have talked it through already, but if Mike, you have anything to add, like if you find any art books that are inspiring you, or do you read like regular kind of novels and stuff for an inspiration? Or
something that I really like doing is watching making-ups for movies. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Like mostly Miyazaki movies are like the best for that. They are really just really rare, man. And whenever I find something like that, I just get really excited and watch it all, and then draw for days the characters and, you know, the theme. Like recently I watched like Princess Mononoke, and that's also a reason why I'm drawing wolves, probably.
Nice.
Which is great. And art books are good. I don't have a lot of art books. I wish I had more, and I'm planning on getting like much more when I have more space in my house. But I have some like Pixar movies are great, and I don't really have many more art books. And books I read some. I recently read like The Hobbit, and that's basically, I don't read a lot of books.
Oh, and he was dropped. I hope he will notice that. Right, so give us a couple of seconds. Dark, can you share the screen with us so we can see what you're doing?
Just start to.
Yeah, when Mike will be back, we'll try to answer that question.
Okay. Can you see it right now?
Yeah. Sorry.
So this was the work of Peter Putti, and I decided to pick it up, this one, because I haven't made a lot of characters overpaints last time, so there are horses which I really like to paint, and I started to going around with just clearing up the things and silhouettes of overall painting, because I really like the idea of that painting, that it's some kind of cinematic horizontal view, and I'm just working on clearing up the the silhouettes of the horses, because I really like that idea with the one man as a lead and the other group in the background. So I think it's worked pretty fine, but still need some more work on it, and I will definitely push it further a bit. So that I think it's just, I really liked that idea, but the colors and contrasts were too much, and what I told the characters weren't that good in anatomy way, but I just left the same composition and trying to fix it in the way of, you know, just more clean view and more appropriate proportions. So we will see how it go further. So we can screen share to
Yeah,
Mike
man,
again.
looks great. Looks great. I love the orange light you introduced.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, amazing. Back to Mike. So we are back. You were dropped, man.
Hey. Oh, sorry, man. I didn't realize.
yeah, it's tricky with that Google thing. So,
Yeah.
good to have you back.
Yeah, like, did you hear anything?
There was a question to you. How have you started working for Applebot?
Through Dave Raposa. Probably you know his work.
Yeah,
Probably, you know.
Not you, like people from the chat, you know. I know you know Dave. Like, we were talking one day, and he said he was really enjoying working for Applebot. I said, oh man, I really would love to work for them too. And he like sent me the email from the producer of Applebot, and then I sent him my stuff, and the same day they hired me. It was really great. It's just a day that, you know, I met Applebot. I just found that Dave was working with them, and then I started working for them, which was really, really awesome. And they liked my stuff, which I'm really glad. And I instantly started working for them, and they're really a great company to work for. If you like doing fantasy stuff, they are really one of the best that I know to work for.
Exactly. I'm just doing the first set for them, and they are so good to work with. They are giving you so much freedom, but at the same time they are so polite and kind and, you know, open to your ideas. That's like the perfect environment for an artist.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Can you suggest any books where basic fundamentals are explained in a non-boring and understandable way?
Me?
Yeah, if you have any. I have a couple in mind.
Yeah, like the best that I can think of is James Gurney. Is just really, really great book, Color and Light, or Light and Color. I don't remember exactly. Is a great book, and I think Scott Robertson's How to Draw also is like my two books that I think people would like. They're not boring at all. They're really just very fun. And I think my two suggestions are those.
Cool. Jonas, do you have any book in mind that you could recommend to people, like beginner level books?
Yeah, I just shared it in the chat actually. The Art Fundamentals by 3D Total. I don't own any fundamentals books because I suck at fundamentals and I never actually learned them properly. But this book is it came out pretty recently, and there's some of my work in there, and there's a lot of work from other artists that are well known on Facebook, and I read through it, and it's actually really good, and it goes quite broad. So it's not only about fundamentals, but it's just about doing concept art in general. But it explains it explains lighting and composition. It explains all those things one at a time. And then at the end there's just a whole bulk of amazing concept art from all different artists. So it's a book that I would recommend. It's not too expensive. It's just it's a really beautiful book.
Nice. That's a good one.
Check it out.
And Scott Robertson has published his book this year, I think. It's called How to Draw, and it goes through basic understanding of perspective, line drawing, all that kind of stuff. You can see it on Amazon. Just type in How to Draw or just Scott Robertson. It's a book, like orange cover, white, orange, gray, something like that. It's focused on industrial design, but still you can benefit from drawing us and understand basic form drawing and drawing through the form and all sorts of stuff. Yes, so for drawing in perspective, that's like the perfect book, and it goes through really interesting topics like camera angles, some idea generators like Modo and stuff. It's really interesting for maybe more scientific minds, if you know what I mean. So check it out. Also, what I can think of, I'm just looking at. So again, if James Gurney has published another book called Imaginative Realism. It's called like that. It's pretty similar to Color and Light. It just goes through how a painter can depict what's in his imagination. So basically, he shows the way that you can set up an illustration, or what kind of tools you can use as an illustrator to depict something that's not existent. Again, something else. Yeah, for anatomy, I found Michael Hampton's Figure Drawing, Design and Invention. That's a perfect book. It breaks down the anatomy into really manageable parts, and it's not overwhelming like most of the anatomy books I found. It's really easy and understandable. Yeah. Mike, you know it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I do. It's like the best. One of the books that I mostly that helped me a lot with anatomy. Just simple. Yeah, exactly what you say. Nothing to add.
Yeah, he's breaking down really complex forms into manageable shapes, and he's creating that machine in your mind that you can flex and manipulate to your needs, and it just constructs that reference in your mind. Like if you imagine some muscle parts, you can imagine how it looks like when it's stretched and how it looks when it's like converging and stuff. So yeah, so it's perfect. I think that's all. I mean, just go through Amazon. Also, there's plenty of cool blog posts from people like Noah Bradley about that stuff. So go to, I don't know, Noah Bradley blog, and you can see like art books that he recommends. Also, James Gurney has his cool blog that he has like tons of posts on. All his books are based on his blog posts. That's pretty funny. So his blog is like a Bible for an illustrator, basically. All right, let's see. So again, the name of the anatomy book is it's a book by Michael Hampton, Figure Drawing, Design and Invention. Basically, if you would type in Michael Hampton, the book would pop up. All right, let's see. That's a pretty technical question. What is the most important aspect in your work that really brings it to life? The light reflection, colors used, etc. What do you think, Mike? What do you think gives your work that final punch or like, you know, make it
I'm
look?
not sure. What I think too, what I really enjoy working on is light and like reflections and tiny variations of light, and you know, just trying to get the light to look correctly. And I think probably is that what I enjoy working on the most. But I can't really judge what makes my work the way you said, because I don't really think it is.
When I'm working on portrait, for example, it's like when you are building up your value structure, it's always really refreshing and it brings my portrait to life when I'm starting adding like highlights and stuff. It starts to really live, you know. I don't know, it's just something that works for me. Adding like tiny highlights that you have to wait for whole like process of painting, because that's like, you know, the award you are getting for hard work, for setting up your values and stuff. So, how, Mike, have you started working professionally? How it has all started?
Do you mean like the first thing I got money to do, or just?
Yeah, I know that's probably a longer story, right? So maybe some, you know, just bigger jobs, like more serious stuff. Like when you go ahead.
I had this thing in my mind that I didn't really want to contact the companies when I was working on, you know, like 2011, when I was studying a lot and trying to get better every day, just waking up and drawing the still life and then studying photos. And you know, when it was like really hard study, I had this thing that I didn't want to send my work to companies. I wanted to the companies to contact me, because I knew that if I sent my work to the big companies, I wouldn't get accepted. But and I didn't want to waste my time sending it and waiting and just, you know, just trying to get work when I knew I couldn't. So I had this thing that in my mind that I didn't send my portfolio around, but it's also a time in my life that I could do that, because I didn't need to work all day or just had a job. I was living with my parents, so it was just much easier for me to, you know, take it easy and be ready when I'm ready to work. And so my first big job was for Volta. They are a Canadian company, and they were really great. They contacted me via email. They saw my stuff through Facebook, I think. I'm not sure now, but I think it was from Facebook. And they contacted me, and they were the first big like international company that I worked for. Before that, I had some like minor movie work from for some Brazilian studios, minor Brazilian studios, and just it was cool. It was cool, but my the first big thing that I got, I can say, was for Voda for sure, and I was just really happy. When I got the email, I just knew I had a break point, you know. I just okay, I did something that I really wanted to do, and that I was really happy, and I still am really. It was just never stopped. I got this email in 2011, I think, which is like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's exactly when I saw your work, I think. That's when I got serious with it. So that's when I was looking up to artists on Facebook and stuff. And yeah, you were studying a lot in 2011, right? And 2012 even. Like tons of stuff, really.
Thanks, man.
Hardworking man.
I try, man. I just, like I said, I don't like the idea of not getting better at my work, or just I don't think you can afford it in our industry to not get better, because it's like very competitive. It's just a lot of people are just real good at what they do. So you can like afford to just, you know, just get to a point and then don't work hard anymore. You can't do that. You cannot do that.
The best deal is when you love to work and you have to work.
Yeah.
That's where it creates happiness.
Exactly.
How can you say that you are done? That's the question. How can you say that you are done, like with a painting? Probably that's the question. Paint.
Most of the times is when I don't want to work on it anymore.
So basically, when you're bored with it.
Yeah, most of the times is that. With my, it's different. It's like two processes. With my paintings, I decide when I'm done, which is when I'm bored. And with other, with like companies, it's different with work, because they decide when I'm done. And you know, sometimes I have to work on an image that I don't want to work on, and that's like one of the biggest things I don't like when doing work. And that's why I like working for Applebot, because they let me kind of use my style, you know. They kind of let me just have my universe and then draw things that I want, like monsters and ogres and dragons. And dragons are gonna come for Applebot for me, which is good. Soon. So, but yeah, that's the thing I like the most. But it's a really tricky question because every artist thinks something different. So I don't really think there's a correct answer for that. Just follow your heart. Just whenever you think you're done with an image, just post it online or just don't work on it anymore. Just don't be lazy, is what I say. Don't be, okay, I'm not gonna finish this, and okay, I'm not gonna finish this, and then never finish something. You have to finish something, you know. You have to like something. You have to work more than other stuff, you know. That's what I think.
I remember Jamie Jones said that he's finished with a painting when he doesn't see any difference in the navigator.
Yeah,
when
that's great. Yeah.
So when he's making a stroke and he's not seeing any difference, you know, like that works for certain kind of painting style, right? More rough, and because when you need details, it's different. But again, for him, it works perfectly, I think.
Yeah, if it works for Jamie, it works for the rest of us.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Technical question.
Can I interrupt you, Wojtek?
Yeah, man.
I think that I'm done with that overpaint. Maybe some more type. Can you share the screen?
Okay, it's there.
Okay, I'm just done with it. I think that it needs maybe some more, you know, polishes with horses because they are pretty lovely and pretty hard to work on. But I think they are you know, just always valuable lesson to study. So I think what I told previously, the most important thing was the contrast and values were not good set. And everything was pretty contrasty, and the contrast and the shadows were going to the absolute black. The same with white snowy parts. So I decided to make it more like a whole in just starting with lighting, which is, you know, which is always the most important thing in that kind of pictures. So it just established me overall colors, and I started over to cleaning up the thing. So the first step was just making the background and cleaning the mountains. After that, cleaning up everything. But my main tip for everyone who's working on that kind of illustration is just, you know, what I really found helpful is making the sky at first. Marek Okoń, well known as Omen, also mentioned this kind of workflow in one of his earlier tutorials when he established overall color scene with just the sky and the background, which is, you know, establishing colors and lighting on overall scene. After that, you can adding more colors, but still you have, you know, more more control on everything if you have the light and the overall set pretty, just prepared. So we can add in other characters, but when you have pretty good lighting and the background is, set in a good way, there is pretty, positive that the picture will go pretty good. So that's my main tip for you. And yeah, let's go ahead.
Man, that's amazing.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, it's really
Amazing.
amazing, man. I was just
Like,
mind blown.
I love the guy on the horse, on the first horse. Like, it's really funny guy.
I think he missed some banjo.
Like, exactly. Give him a banjo or something.
No, I just wanted to be serious this time because sometimes my overpaints go pretty wide. So
I mean, that's why you're amazing, also.
thanks.
I still remember that boar you painted.
Yes, more.
The balls and shit. It's just
Yeah.
fucking crazy. Right, let's switch to
Okay.
Mike's screen again.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
nice.
almost done with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm almost done with this because I don't really want to make like a 10-hour painting.
I love this wolf eye and
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
amazing. You just spent like 1 hour on it, so maybe let's give it like 10 minutes more, and we'll see what Jonas did with his overpaint. Is it okay,
Okay, cool.
Jonas?
I need a little bit more time.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll. Actually, Mike, if you feel like wrapping up with this painting, it's all right, and maybe you can just go to your
Overpaint?
overpaint.
Yeah, okay. One last thing that I want to do with this painting is show a bit how I enhance the light and colors on some parts. And I do that by having the channels open. A lot of people ask me why I have the channels open when I'm painting, and the reason is that I paint light, as you can see, on a separate layer most of the times. Like when I'm having rim light or light hitting from above or from just different sources, I most of the time paint on the different layer. So I can do that later. I can just select the two channels that I want to enhance the colors, which in this case is kind of yellowish because I selected red and green channels. Then I make it all visible. It's important that you don't really, select it all again. It's easy to do it like that. You just select two channels and then click it again. You just have to click on the little eye to make it visible. And then with the dodge tool, what you can do is like enhance only the yellows on the wolf, for instance. So I can just change and make it some areas much more like much brighter, and just the light look more convincing in some areas like this.
So you're painting with a brush set to color dodge.
No.
No?
I'm using the dodge tool actually.
Oh, dodge tool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do that. It's easy to just, for instance, on this guy. Okay, just making sure he's on the same layer. Like this. I do it on the back of the guy so you can guys see it.
Mm-hmm.
I make it the round areas, the areas around him more like yellowish. So he's like more on the light. It's more like he's more placed on it. You can see the light looks more convincing if it works like that, because it enhances only a part of the image. So when it's like that, you see that it kind of looks more like the light's hitting him and from behind. And
exactly.
I don't know. It's just I think it's something very useful on the finishing touches, but it's something that you can just fuck up with, just making too much. It's just easy to get it wrong when you're working on like that. So you have to be very careful when you're doing that.
Nice, man. It's an amazing technique from what I can see. Like you're focusing on like doing great brushwork and have a value somewhere in there, but later on when you are finishing it, you are just going in and enhancing specific brush strokes and light sources. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's basically what I try to do. And thanks, man. So I think I'm done with this. I have
Nice.
like a final lesson here.
If later on you can post it to an event and to the group, and maybe not flatten it, because I think it would be super cool if you could share the PSD with the group.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So people could break down your process later on. Maybe
Okay.
with a video. That would be super cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem, man. Yeah.
So Jonas, you're working on your overpaint right now. We will go to that like in a 15 or 20 minutes or.
Yeah, I got some issues here, so I need a
No
little bit more
problem.
time.
No problem. Take your time. Cool, Mike. So maybe show us the image you picked for an overpaint.
Okay. It's here. Okay. Can you guys see it? I'm opening it. Yeah, here.
It's open. Okay, we got it.
Yeah, now it is. Can you guys see it? Perfectly.
Yeah, it works.
Damn. So I chose this image because I think it has a lot of potential, and it says on a comment on above the image that the guy wants to work for Applebot. So I think I kind of know what you gotta do to just make this image look more like Applebot, and it's not that hard. I think it's a good image. Don't get me wrong, but I think you can get like closer to what the Applebot look kind of is, you know. So I think you totally have the feeling of the Applebot stuff, but some things are just a little bit without form, if you know what I mean. Like mostly the cloth and this red thing here is like really glowy and just not having much form. And I think you could enhance the form in some areas, and it would look just much simpler and less like bright, because some of these areas are just insanely bright to a level that you kind of lose the values. Let me show you. And if you lose the values, like on the face, you kind of lose the form, because if you see it on a tiny level, you cannot like differentiate the face from the background and the hair. It kind of mixes all up, and I think you could use some simplification mostly on your image. So the first thing I would do is like make this less bright. It's like the first thing, because it's calling up too much of attention of the image. I don't think it's helping a lot. Also, the perspective is off on some areas. Like you can see that you can see some part of the other part of the armor, but you can see the face or any other part of anything. So I think you can like make things much simpler basically, and have it working better for you what you want. So the first thing I would do is make this less bright and make the shapes less like the hair. Mostly the hair and the cloth have the same type of shape. So if you could change that would help a lot, in my opinion. Like breaking some points, like here. I'm not sure if you are now on the chat. The guy who painted this is on the chat right now, but maybe you can watch it later. So the basic thing about the hair is that it was like one big form, and it was not really reading very well as hair, because I think you just did one big thing and not really thought like hair behaves on a different time. Every chunk of hair behaves on a different level. So if you could add more of that to the hair, it would look much more convincing. Another thing, which is probably the biggest thing, is that it was too much on the border of the canvas, you had like no space to breathe, and you really have to have space to just rest your eyes and not really focus on anything on an image, because if not, you're just gonna be ending with a super full of stuff image, and people are not gonna just have time to rest, you know, at your image. So one thing that I would do is I would make it so his head is not hitting the top of the image, and also work a bit on his anatomy, on his face. I think the armor is the most successful thing on your image right now. I think the design is cool. You know, you have some highlights. The metal is working well. This is working well. The swords is working well, and I think that is a good point of your image. But I think you could have some more work on the face. I'm not right now. I'm not exactly sure if it's a man or a woman. Maybe you guys can help me, but that happens sometimes with Applebot stuff.
Because of the stylization of what they want sometimes, right?
Yeah, I think it's a man because of the nose and the forehead, but I think it's a woman because the lips are just too glowy. But I'm gonna make it more of a man. Just choose one and go for it. Like this.
Guys, you have to remember that Applebot is a Japanese company, and the Japanese
that's what
love
I understand.
androgynous-looking characters. That's just what they do. I mean, if you look at Japanese RPGs and stuff, you will often find characters where you're not sure if they're male or female. That's just sort of their thing. So it might work in the advantage of this artist. You never know.
So let's keep it like that then. Like keep it not very, you know, you cannot see if it's a man or a woman exactly. But the biggest thing I think is making the face separated from the background right now, because I think it loses too much, and it's a focal point. You have to have attention. So I'm gonna try to add a bit of a dark background in this, at least on the face, so the face pops more. I think it's gonna look better, but let's try it out, you know. I think for just shapes is gonna look better, because you cannot have like a very light character on a very light background if it's not your intention. If it's your intention, it's good, but you have to show that it's your intention to do that. So what I would do is just make the background just much darker. Not much darker, but darker than the background, than the character, so you can identify what's the character's face. You know, like this. Now you can see the character's face, and how the you know, all the other stuff that you want. I would go back with those things that you have in the background, but later. Right now I'm establishing a good value on the background, which doesn't compete with the characters for attention.
That actually works perfect. That illustration, I think.
Thanks, man. One thing that I think it's really missing on your image is cast shadows. The only cast shadow you have are here and here, and I think cast shadows are just a key to just making things look 3D when you're painting, and have, you know, volume. One thing that I would do is just use a layer set to luminosity, which is one of the last modes. I think it's the last mode, and then work with a very dark color, dark value actually, on the occlusion shadows, which is are very important to show the volume on stuff. So like that.
You're basically talking about like basic sphere rendering knowledge, right? So for people that needs that knowledge, there's an awesome tutorial from Nomon. It's called Practical Light and Color from Jeremy Vickery. He's talking about these exact things we are talking about, and if you are trying to be an illustrator, you should know about like basic light mechanics and all sorts of stuff. So basically just go to nomonworkshop.com and look for Jeremy Vickery tutorial on light and color. It talks through all different stuff about light, how it reacts, what it does when it hits the surface, and it's super useful and it's super refreshing even to watch it 2 years after you watched it first time, even when you are advanced, and it's really beneficial. Yeah, that's what Mike is talking about, like occlusion shadows, cast shadows, that sorts of things.
One thing that I would do too is make sure that the character is separated from the cape. Before that, he was just blending in, and you didn't really have like volume, and you couldn't really tell what's in front and what's in the back, and it's really important to show that stuff. So I'm using a lighter value right now on the same layer, just to separate him like from the cape. And basically the thing that I'm doing over and over right now is just separating forms and making things look more three-dimensional. Things were a bit flat before. Some things, like the character and the cape, the division, the border, was not very clear. You cannot tell when one thing starts and another thing ends. And I think you should have that to separate both of those. And like here is good. One thing, something like that on the background. Like you can already tell more of the volume of the character right now. So you want to have like unity with your light. You have to, for instance, this object here, it was receiving light from, let me draw, from that direction, and when the character is receiving from that direction, and this shoulder pad was receiving from that direction, you have to have unity with your light. You have to decide one direction of light and one direction of light, and then go for it.
Exactly.
Just stick with it and always think about that. It's not that you don't know that light coming from here is gonna make this area lighter and this area darker. It's just that you're not thinking about that all the time, and that's important when you're making an image that has unity, to always think about the direction of light, and the basic stuff, where the light's coming from, where is it hitting, how the material reacts to it, and how the textures reacts to it, and all that tiny stuff makes a lot of difference. I think I'm making this a bit darker, like this, so the face is more in evidence right now. One good thing when you're making standoff characters like this, when there's only one character in an image, is making sure that you're popping his silhouette a lot. I really like the design on your image. It's cool, the composition. Like you have this here, and then the same type of line on the background, and they all like lead to the guy. Like you kind of have this movement going on, and I like that. I think it's cool, but you have to have that with the light too. You have to have like some area more in evidence than others, and before what you see is like it's moving out of the image, with these spears, and all the shapes on the hair look the same, and I think you could like break it down a bit to make it focus on the face more. That's like the main thing that I wanted to do here. I think one good thing that you could have is like make sure that you don't really have just one shape for the hair. You can like add an ear here. Maybe you could like even have like this elf cup type of thing, because I think it's a good breakdown to the shapes that you already have, because they are all moving to that direction, and it's good to sometimes break the direction of shapes, in my opinion. On the composition, it's good for the composition, because you don't like force people to only look to the same place over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
They just fall down to other places, and the eyes really go around the image more, and I think that's important. So adding that kind of breaks, and adds to the pose on the face. It makes it more looks like he's with the face down more,
Exactly.
because before you just have the chin showing that, and now you have like another element showing that, and it looks like he's like ready, more he or her is more ready to fight, he's more like, okay, I'm badass. Something like that.
Like
and I think
through painting ears in a certain place, you can easily introduce a tilt of a head. Like you can exaggerate it and show it a little bit better.
I think you could have like some more highlights on the armor to show more. Like you were showing a little bit of the light hitting the armor, but I think you could like exaggerate it more, like this. A little less, but like here. And so you can have like light look more convincing, And one thing that is happening, that I think the biggest grid I have for this is that light is coming from different directions on like objects that are close to each other. The big thing you can see is like the armor, the shoulder, and the head. They have completely different directions of light, and yeah, I think if you like have more unity, like this side, okay, the light's coming from here, and then just write it down or make a new layer and always remember it, because it's gonna make your painting look more convincing and the light look more unified, I think is the word, because before it was a bit too like I don't know, over the place. I think it was coming from
without a clear focal point, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
sometimes, go ahead.
And I think you could have some more light on this part of the character, since the light is coming from this area. But go on.
Yeah, I was just sometimes it's hard to maintain your focal point when the client wants so much detail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to satisfy them, but as well make a really cool illustration. Sometimes it depends on an art director and stuff, but it happens. I was thinking, Jonas, maybe we could move on to, while Mike will be doing his overpaint off screen, we can maybe show your panel demo about, customization of the panels, what you have in there, if you want, right now.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. I'll show the overpaint first anyway.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Can I switch to your screen?
Yes, you can.
Right, got it.
Okay, so I took this image. It's actually a very tricky one because there's a lot of stuff going on, and there is a city, so that's hard perspective, and there's like a bazillion light sources and a bazillion colors. So the overpaint, just make this smaller. What I'm done is this. So there's still a lot of work on it, as you can see, but I've basically mostly been focusing again on readability and separating shapes, very similar to what Mike was talking about. I think that was the problem here, that because the light was sort of cast everywhere on the surfaces, it became really hard to separate shapes. And actually the person is trying to use a very dark environment because he's working with silhouettes, but still when he's introducing side lighting or backlighting, the value of that light is too bright, and therefore it becomes overexposed. So you can use, I mean, silhouettes shouldn't be entirely black, you should always put some color in there, but you have to make sure that the value is never lighter than the side of the character that is being lit, because a bounce light can never have more luminosity than a direct light. So that's basically what I tried to focus on here, and I also tried to put a little bit more unity with the colors, but I don't think I really succeeded there because there's so many colors in here. It's kind of cool because, you know, these sort of cities, definitely if you look at cities in Asia and stuff, they do have a lot of color. All the neon lights and stuff like that has a lot of color, but I think you have to sort of be consistent with it from the get-go. Again, in the same like Mike was just telling with the painting that he's doing. And yeah, be consistent with how you light your objects. So for example, let's see. Well, for example, here, this main creature here, he's got blue light hitting the front of him and the side, but the only blue light that I'm finding is behind him, so that doesn't really make any sense. So I've actually not lit him from that side because there's no light sources here, and I've made the blue light come from above, from behind him over there. And so yeah, the same here with the orange light and the purple lights and so on. Okay. But yeah, there's still definitely a lot more work, and there was a lot of perspective issues that I had to fix that actually aren't fixed yet. So, but you know, I could easily spend a couple of hours on this image. So I'm not
it's very complex, but
yeah,
you did a great job in simplifying it, though.
Yeah, I think it shows some. I mean, I wish I could show a little bit more, but you know. So the panel, right?
Yeah, the panel. Man, I love the overpainting.
Sorry?
I love the overpainting.
Oh, okay,
as
thanks.
well.
Yeah, that's all right. So I've been working on a panel, guys. It's still not finished because I'm doing a couple of new things again that I'm thinking about that are super handy when you're speed painting. But since the last time, you see that I've now included folders that are the same way to how you organize your brushes. So you can see I organize my brushes in these categories. So paint brushes, basic brushes, environment brushes, blah, blah, blah. And so basically I've done the same, and you can use in Configurator. There's a widget for a navigation bar like this, and then basically you can copy paste. You can make a navigation bar for your different types of brushes, and then if you create a favorites like I did, you can just copy paste your favorite brushes into your favorites navigator, which will be the main one. Did I get kicked out? No. Okay.
No, he's just back.
Okay.
Oh, I'm back.
So you can make a favorites one, which will be the one that loads up, but you are still able to go into your other ones. And then if you want to change your favorites, you can just go into Configurator and change them in here and export it back into the Photoshop folder, and then all you have to do is restart Photoshop and it will be updated. So it's not super fast, but it's something. It's working for me. And there was also a guy, sorry, I forgot his name, but I hope he's watching, who elaborated a little bit on my idea from a few weeks ago, where he basically linked a custom panel to the brush presets and split up the brushes, like your categories, into different sets, and then create loaders, which is a pretty clever idea because you can just load whichever one, it will replace it. And then you just have them in here. You don't need a separate panel like this. You just have the ones like, you know, you press paint brushes and it will only load the paint brushes. And it's a great idea, but I think the only problem for me with that is that I still like to have a one-click brush access, which is what I have here with the favorites. It's literally like you're painting and there's one click, and it's still like the fastest way to switch between brushes. And going to other sets will never be as fast. But it's a great idea, and I've actually incorporated it into the set. So at the end, I've got a folder called loader, and basically here, all the sets separately, I can either replace them or append them. And so yeah, replace will just basically only load that set, and append will load. So let's say that you're doing a painting and you think, okay, I only want to work with my basic brushes and my paint brushes and my guide brushes, and I don't want all the fancy leaves and clouds. Then you can just basically append them and create your own set, or you can you can replace them and work with one set, however you like.
Oh, it looks amazing, man.
And then on the left side, I've also upgraded a little bit, so I've added the color because I think this is still I think this is a great color picker, even though it looks so basic. I tried using colors as well, the one that Mike uses, but like I was saying, I couldn't find a way to pick value properly. But I think someone in the comments mentioned a way to do it, something with swatches. I don't know. I think someone will post it there, so if you guys check out the comments. So I've added that, and I've added tool presets as well for people who use tool presets. And then I've also created these 3 new buttons. And this is quite handy for me, definitely. I think a lot of people, if they learn how to use it, they will think it's very handy as well. And that is clipping mask, layer mask, and clipping mask folder. And I will try to show you guys what it does. So I'll just open up a painting that has some layers in it already. So where's my, let's see, what can I take here? Okay. So I'll just open the painting that I did last week.
Wow, it's with me.
With you, yeah. Oh yeah, you're in it. I love the saddle that you're wearing. Very nice. Man. So anyway, so the first button that I've created is the clipping mask button, and it's pretty easy to create a clipping mask. I think most people know it, but it's still a 2-click process. So basically, you have to, let's say I want to paint on top of this horse. You can create a new layer, and then you go to create clipping mask, and then it will clip everything you do on that layer. So that's a variety of using the lock transparency. You got it on a separate layer, so you can use blending modes and stuff. You got more control. So that's the basic system. And so basically, this button just does that. It just creates it in 1 step rather than in 2 steps. So it's nothing special, but it's still a little bit faster. Then the second one is a layer mask, and that's the one that we have over here. I think a lot of people use that as well. I use it all the time because that's how I learned Photoshop. But the thing that I find annoying about the layer mask is that usually the layer that you want to layer mask is the one that you want to decide what comes through, and you don't want everything to come through immediately. I will try to explain what I mean with that. So let's say I have a copy of this, and I have done some adjustments to it. And let's say I've textured it, because I could do this with an adjustment layer, but let's say I've textured it and I've done some weird brush strokes. This looks crap, I know, but just for illustration purposes. Then this button is basically going to remove it and give me a brush to blend it straight away in one action. So it's much faster than going in there and coloring it black and picking a black and white brush and so on. So it's basically just to speed up that process. So I'll show it again. So I've got this layer, and I click the button, and I can just blend in that layer very easily. Okay. And then the last one, and I think this is actually the most handy one, which is the clipping mask folder. This will create a folder that clips your layer. And the handy thing about that is that if you've got textures, so let's say that I've got, I don't know, some weird textures over here that I want to put on top of my horse for some unknown reason, I can do that very easily with that. So if I press the clipping mask folder, it will create a folder, and if I drag anything into that folder, it will clip to the horse. I can use a blending mode. Let's say I want to do that, and I can add another one, and it's all nicely tucked into one folder. And I think that's the really nice thing about it, because you can work with multiple layers within one folder. You can give them separate blending modes, and it's all clipped to your layer, and you can still adjust the clipping as well. So if you want if you want to change it, you can still change it as well, obviously. So and it's very easy to create if you want to create it. It's basically just an action that does control-click on your layer, create folder, and then layer mask selection, and that's pretty much it. So it's pretty simple. So yeah, those are the updates. I think I've shown you my value check system where you can just turn values on and off with one button, which is also very handy when you're working. And I'm going to do more work on this panel, so I'm not going to release it this week. I hope to release it next week. And the other function that I'm thinking about is quick lighting systems, because if you want to paint light on top of something, you know, there's also some issues that you might have. So I'm going to create a system which is very good for sunbeams and atmospheric light, and then I'm going to, yeah, of course. I'm gonna create another one which is good for lighting characters, which is kind of based on the system that James uses, which is like a really nice color dodge way of lighting. But more about that next week, and hopefully I can release the panel then as well. So yeah, that's it. So back to you, Wojtek.
You are like a panel engineer. Adobe should hire you.
Well, or they should just fix their program for digital painters and stop thinking about all those logo designers out there.
Exactly.
Seriously, come on, Adobe. Man, it's not funny anymore.
It looks amazing. Like probably the amount of work you have to put in.
Yeah, it is crazy. A lot of work because Configurator is a little bit buggy, and the previews are not always the same as in Photoshop. And I want it to look clean and as minimalized as possible. Oh, actually, I forgot something. One more thing that I want to show is brush versions. That's another thing that I've included. And it makes it look a little bit complicated, but it's actually more simple than it looks. And here you can see that these brushes have brush versions. So basically, if this is an oil brush, you can see oil. I paint with my oil brush. If I go to 2, I will get a different version of a similar brush. A lot of people have like packs that says, you know, like, I don't know, soft noise and then soft texture and then soft, you know, they're all very similar brushes and they're close to each other, but they're slightly different. And by using this system, you can quickly switch between the 2, or you can use the shortcuts for previous and next to switch between the brushes after you select it. So that's basically the idea there. That, you know, I pick this speckle brush 1, which is light, and then I want heavier one, I pick 2, and then I've got like a heavier speckle. Nice. So yeah, that's one more thing that I'm working on. Back to you, Wojtek, with the weather.
Sure, man.
Okay, Wojtek, can you share the screen on me for a second?
Yeah. Yeah, right now 500 people can see you.
Okay, so this is the work by Michael Robson.
Your screen isn't.
Oh, sorry, my fucking face. Okay, guys, this is the work by Michael Robson. He sent over that picture on our Level Up mail, so I found it today. And
well done. How old is the email?
I don't really know.
Maybe he's given up on painting and like now he's somewhere doing gardening or some other stuff. It's like, they never picked my email up. Never picked my painting up.
So, you know, it's for making up for it, Michael.
Yeah.
So it's your work right now. And what I really wanted to make on this picture is just cleaning up everything in it. So I can see that there's forest which is in fire or something like this, but there are some silhouettes and shapes that doesn't suit that well. For instance, that's tree. I don't know what is it, and I decided to just clear up all the scene. So a lot of sparkles are around there, and what I made is just making it more readable. Trying to fit the perspective on it, just leaving the colors like they was because they are pretty cool.
You moved the fire. How do you do that?
What? Like, magic.
Yeah, you took the fire and like you're a god of fire or something.
I don't understand your question, Wojtek.
There's no question. Just go on. All right.
Okay, so I just made it more readable, I guess, and fixed some issues with horizontal line and adding some ground with more readable values. I really like that one, but it was pretty covered by that fire is all around. So just making it more, readable and try to fix the values put into the division.
Oh man, it looks amazing.
Thank you, Jonas.
Yeah. The snow value is very well picked. Very nice.
Thanks, man. So I think that's just it, and I just added that this. I will show you this sparkles. Fuck, where are you?
Can you go easy on the swearing, Darek?
What? Oh yeah,
It's offending our American viewers.
Okay.
No, I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
Okay.
Let it all out.
I just made that fire like a suggestion. So you just see some sparkles, but they are pretty slightly done with just a few strokes, and added some blur on effect after it, and I think that's pretty enough for it because there was just too much. That was like it was just a camera in front of the fire, and you don't see anything, just fire and some background. So I really like the scene, but try to clean it up, and I think it works good, Michael. So keep up posting stuff and sending us emails, and we'll pick it up.
Yeah, I think another thing that was a problem with the previous image is that because he had flames in the foreground, but they were not really illuminating the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So you've picked like a more specific point, and it just illuminates it from one point. So, and very subtly, like people tend to over illuminate stuff, which is a problem. But like the way that you've put the highlights on the rocks is just enough to suggest a reflection of that fire, and it doesn't need to illuminate the entire.
Exactly. It even destroyed the values with just as you can see right now with checking the values. This fire makes some kind of mess because it's transparent and it just makes like a smoke in this one. But if you just look at this, you can easily see there is fire in it. I didn't even use the white for the fire, so it's just kind of making the mid values and keeping them clear. So that's it. That's about it.
Awesome. I love it.
Thanks, man.
So going back to Mike. Mike, any final thoughts on an overpainting? Maybe you can show us before and after what you did.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's go from the beginning. So the main thing that I tried to do with this is separating this shape that I had here, like this one, with the background, because it was too much mixed up. You have like you couldn't tell what's the face of the character, so I tried to slowly build up a difference, and the light unity also was a big thing on this. So basic thoughts are just try to be simple with composition. You don't have to overcomplicate things, like make too much white and just add light and over and over again. You just have to be simple, just like Darek said and Jonas. People tend to overlight stuff, so just try to be, unified with your light. Just try to decide what you want and go with it to the rest of your image. So I was slowly building up a light. This layer is very important because it's like this whole area was supposed to be illuminated, but it was totally in shadow. So this layer adds like more of the light convincing, like trying to be convincing along with the face. So I tried to have it like exactly like that and more convincing, and so I added more light here and tone it down a bit. Also the cloth, you had some super soft edges there, and you don't really always want to have super soft edges. sometimes you wanna mix it up, like have, for instance, that this edge here to be softer and the above it to be harder. So it looks more convincing, you know, like it looks more like cloth. And then this layer is probably the most important one, which is focusing the composition on the face and having a you know, a color scheme that is based on one color. Is not based on one color, like based on bluish tones. So you don't really have only reds and grays. You kind of add like more richness to the colors. And I experiment. I'm not entirely sure about this thing here, which I'm going to show right now. This thing, I'm not exactly sure about that, but I wanted to show some overlapping with the cape and the background and the character. So what I did is add like a negative shape here to make it up for this shape here, so it can like have a better reading image, you know. That's what I wanted most to do. And I added the you know, spikes. I don't know how is it called. I forgot.
Spears or what are they?
Yes, yeah, exactly. On the background, but I added them in a different way that you have before. If you see, you had like them clumped on the downside of the character, you know, like just you can place them whatever you want, and so you want to place them in a place in a compositional place, which enhances the face of the character like this, you know. You can, it's not a problem actually. Applebot and they love that type of stuff, like not realistic stuff, but stuff that looks cool, you know. You don't have to be real, you have to make things look good, I think. And that's just basically it. I just, you had a good image before, you had like a good structure to build from. What I think you got wrong is you got like too bright on the background, and you mixed a bit things up, and also the light source and stuff like that. So just try to have more unity when you're lighting stuff, and I think you'll be you're gonna have more chances with Applebot. I wish you good luck with them, and back to you, Wojtek. I like that.
Yeah. It becomes like a new show.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice work, man. I really like how you split the sort of, you emphasize the cool versus warm colors by giving some blue glow on his face and his armor, and the rest is sort of red and bounce red. So you got like a nice separation. It works really well.
Thanks,
Exactly.
man.
It's amazing. If you can save the PSD
okay.
and send it over to us later on, and we will share it on the group. Or maybe you can, I don't know, if you have Dropbox, or you know,
I do,
maybe
yeah.
just send it to us. Maybe send it to us, and we will manage that.
Okay.
And yeah, it looks awesome. I love the tweaks you did. It's also you explained it flawlessly. So it's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think we are hitting 2 hours on the clock, so that's the time we are usually wrapping up.
I have a question though.
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
Darek.
Yeah,
I want to know what happens if he clicks that hamburger icon on his desktop. I've been looking at it and it's gotten me really hungry. I'm really keen for a hamburger right now.
Darek, you're muted.
He's muted. What's that hamburger, man? It's been staring me in the face.
It's for my diet.
Is it really?
It's really easy, and you know, just
Is it like a calorie calculator? Or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Polish.
Okay.
Yes.
That's pretty funny, because I feel like a hamburger is not the symbol of a healthy diet. It's like the anti-symbol.
It's like to tease you, you know.
Yeah, you want this?
just,
well, you can't.
You
can only have broccoli.
You have to know it that that's enough when you see just only icon, and you cannot more. You just, you know. It's enough to just look at this hamburger.
Okay, thanks for answering my question.
Okay.
Sure.
That was the best question that I heard today. Really.
Yeah.
The most informative answer also. Like, right.
Yeah, I can send over the program on level up.
So again, go to Facebook, follow Mike Azevedo. Just type in his name, follow his work. That's a command from me. Yeah, and thank you so much from your Sunday. I know
it was really great, actually. It was really nice.
Yeah.
To hear you talk. Yeah, you're very insightful. I think a lot of people learned, because the thing is, you know, it's. I think you showed very well that a lot of things are not as complicated as people maybe believe they are. Like, it's pretty simple. You just sort of have to break it down and think about it a little bit. And I think you did a great job explaining, like, very simply the things that people have to watch.
Exactly. You can.
Thanks for that.
One thing, you can paint well, right? But the second is like, if you are able to explain really simply, that's like the other thing. And you did it. Like, I learned a lot from.
Thanks, man. Me too.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. So again, we meet again on this YouTube channel next week, same time, probably with different guests. We'll announce that tomorrow, I think. Still, we are struggling with getting the site online. It's because we are pretty busy with our work, trying at the same time to manage, you know, the site being as good as possible with all the resources and all the stuff. It's plenty of work, so we are trying to split it between us three in here, and it's pretty hard, but I think we can make it before next week. That's not like you know.
It's not really a priority, but we're working on it. I mean, it will get there.
First off, we'll try to get all the videos on the channel. Yeah. Because right now they're all spread out, so we will try to get them in one place on the channel. So basically, just subscribe to the channel you're watching video right now, and you will be up to date with everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys, and see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, and thanks, Mike. Bye, everyone.
It was a big pleasure to be here, man. Seriously, I enjoyed it a lot. I learned a lot too. It was great.
Right, signing out.
Right. Bye.
Bye.